This cake is called Maskouta and it's a traditional Moroccan orange and yogurt cake that is served at tea time. It's easy to make, doesn't require lots of ingredients, so I hope that you recreate it for yourself. I'm going to start off by adding my sugar, vanilla essence, eggs, and apricot jam together. The apricot jam is optional. You can add it or you don't have to. It's up to you. And then I whisked all these wet ingredients using my stand mixer, but you can do it by hand manually using a normal whisk. Whisk for 5 minutes until the egg mixture is pale like this. And then next up, you're gonna add the oil. I used vegetable oil, but sunflower oil also works. And then you add the yogurt, and I added the zest of 1.5 oranges. Next up, I chopped 2 oranges and squeezed them, so got around 120 milliliters of orange juice. Just to also remind you that all the ingredients that I used and the measurements are in the description box below. I would say squeeze the orange juice yourself, don't use shop bought, just because it's just fresher and it tastes nicer in the cake mix. And then I just added the orange juice, whisked that in, and now all that's left is to add the flour and baking powder. If you don't have plain flour and baking powder separately, you could use self-raising flour, but I do prefer to just add my own baking powder, hence using plain flour. And then I whisked all the ingredients together by hand using a spatula, and then I add them to the cake pan. You can use whatever cake pan you have. I used an 8-inch one. I brushed it with some oil and sprinkled flour just to avoid any sticking. Then I popped it in the oven, which was preheated at 170 degrees Celsius, and I left the cake there for 45 minutes on the medium oven shelf. Make sure to check with a knife to see if the cake is fully baked, and if not, leave it in the oven until it's ready. And yeah, this is the cake. It's so fluffy. Usually Moroccans would just sprinkle some icing sugar on top, and that's how we ate it as kids, but I wanted to make an actual glaze because I want to also decorate the cake, which is just an added step. So you could stop here and just sprinkle the cake with icing sugar, or you can just make the glaze like I did here. I added 200 grams of icing sugar, and then to that I added some water. You just keep whisking and add extra icing sugar if the glaze consistency is too thin, and then add extra water if the glaze is too thick. I then added some peach food coloring to the glaze and then poured it on top. You're gonna have to make sure that the cake is cool, like completely cooled down before you add the glaze, because otherwise it will just melt and it won't look as nice. It'll still taste great, but definitely let the cake cool down for at least a couple of hours. Next up, I used the small curved piping tip. I think it's a 59. I just made a few flowers that I wanted to add onto the cake. I also piped some roses, which I didn't actually end up adding to the cake, but I guess I'll just show you guys how I did this. I used a small petal tip. This is a 102 Wilton piping tip. I used a Wilton 2 piping tip to add the stems. And I believe this specific piping tip that I used to add the lavender is a PME 16 tip. It's like a small star tip. And then that's it. That's how I decorated my cake. So that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you also remake the cake and let me know how it goes.